Hi everybody. Give me a shout out if you can see me and hear me, because we've gone live on the December 2024 live stream, and my mustaches have just gone totally whack, and I'm going to leave them that way because it looks better. So shout out to everybody. So there's going to be a lot of stuff in this. I'm doing some in memoriam stuff, like who in movie world died in November, which is going to be a laugh riot. I went out and saw a movie with the public on Saturday night, and a whole bunch of other stuff, movie halls, that kind of thing. Hi, FG, how you doing? Middle-aged geek girl says that everything is working nicely. And by the way, middle-aged geek girl is moderating, and she's in the kind of mood that if you cheese her off, she's not going to be kind to you. So just be aware of that. She is going to be assiduous in her moderating on this one. The weather's kind of nice here. It's going to be 30 degrees today. We're going to get some wonderful thunderstorms in the evening, and it's basically kind of like a beach party movie with Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello, only without Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello. Hi, Bent Ed, how you doing? What's the weather like where you guys are? Yeah, so lots of movie stuff. I'm also going to do some movies I've watched. There's middle-aged geek girl showing her rage. So, yeah. FG says it's 0 degrees Celsius in Kansas. Thank you for using Celsius like the rest of the world does, FG. Appreciate that. Well done. I'm just going to get up my letterbox so I can talk about the movies that I've watched sometime during the podcast, or sometime during the live stream, sorry. And I don't have to mess around with that too much. Yeah, so, the weather's been really strange here. We've been getting kind of tropical weather, which is unusual because we're in a temperate climate. But we're getting weather like Darwin and the Northern Territory normally has. Really, really humid, really, really damp, and lots of heavy rain. So everybody knows that the climate's stuffed and we don't know what's happening with it and all that kind of stuff. So we've got a bit of that happening to us. And everybody's going, it didn't used to be like this. And of course it didn't, because we messed up the world. 12 degrees centigrade. Hi, Evil Pixie 96. Thank you again for the gifts that you sent. They were wonderful. Middle-aged Geek Girl and I both love them. And 12 degrees in Morecambe. That's pretty warm. Yeah, it's making middle-aged Geek Girl's hair frizzy. She's got naturally curly hair and she hates it. I don't know why, but she does. Ben Ed said $2. Thank you very much, Ben Ed. Totally appreciate that. Yeah, I've got a goal for the super chats, which is I'm going to sing a buzz of a song if I get to 10 super chats, which is really funny because I get money plus I get to torture people. So there's all of that going on. Yeah, really fantastic time at the moment. We've been out and about doing things, which is always a nice thing in the warmer weather. We went to an op shop, like a thrift store, where a friend of ours works over on the north side of Melbourne. We don't normally go over to that part of the world because we don't often have much reason to. But we found this enormous Savers store there with tons of stuff in it. Didn't find a lot of movie stuff, unfortunately, but we got to donate some things and got to hang out a little bit with our friend Alicia, and that was kind of cool. And there is a black and white cat sitting on the roof of the house next door, gazing into the man cave for some reason. It's quite creepy. Hi, Captain Laser. How you doing? Yeah, I can see the cats on the roof next door. Sometimes it's Luna up there, sometimes it's other cats. But there's this evil-looking black and white cat sitting up on the roof there and distracting me to hell. So, yeah, lots and lots of stuff happening here. Let's see. I'll talk about, I think, Cinemaniacs first. I have my coffee because I've got the rest of my espresso here. It's my second one of the day. And it is only 7:04 a.m. Yeah, so Saturday night, I drove over to the Astor Theatre in Windsor, which is the oldest single-screen theatre in Melbourne. It's, I think it started in about 1934. Old Art Deco cinema, fantastic cinema. I've seen tons of things there. And a group of movie nuts called Cinemaniacs, which was started by the late Lee Gambon, do a fortnightly movie thing for most of the year where they pick a particular movie and they top and tail it with a whole bunch of stuff. So this time, the movie that they picked was a movie called Terrorvision, a Charles Band movie. Yeah, hi Peter. It is really early where you are, mate. Yeah, the city of churches and the city of serial killers. But on the other hand, Adelaide, where you are, does have the best small goods in Australia. I mean, going up into the mountains and getting the small goods from Harndorf is just fantastic. Yeah, so anyway, I went to the Astor and we saw Terrorvision, which is a Charles Band movie that stars Gerard Graham, Mary Woronov, and Diane Franklin, about an alien that comes through a TV satellite dish and terrorizes a family. So we watched that, and the interesting thing is, it's my first Cinemaniacs. So a few nice things happened. First off, as soon as I got in there and I showed them my ticket, they gave me a little bag of lollies to eat, a little candy bag to eat, which is great. And I got to meet a bunch of people I already knew from Facebook, including John Harrison, who does a lot of writing about movies, and Julian from what's it called? I'm just trying to find the name of his YouTube channel, Cinematic Creations, I think it is, but it might not be. Let me just find this because I want to get it right for Julian. And of course I can't find it because everything is whack here. Collector Creations, it's called. You should check out Julian's channel. He does a lot of stuff about movies. So Collector Creations. Now, Terrorvision isn't the same as reality TV, Dean. But yeah, so we were watching that. Good thing is, at the start, John does a talk about the movie, and that went really well. And then we get video that's been sent to us specifically for this viewing by one of the stars of the movie, Diane Franklin, and by the director of the movie, Ted Nicolau. And they'll talk about the movie a little bit. Yeah, just do a little Skype or a video thing where they talk about the movie a little bit and welcome us to the movie. And it's great because it feels a lot like you're living the extras on a DVD or a Blu-ray release. And that's kind of cool. And I got to meet Julian, I got to meet John. Really nice vibe, maybe about 50 or 60 people there. And they also had a raffle. And I got a T-shirt in the raffle, which is too small for me. I'm going to give it to my nephew, Billy. But I actually won a T-shirt in the raffle, which I was very happy about. They had some other things. They had a Daybell movie poster. They had a book. They had a couple of box sets that have been donated by Umbrella Entertainment. So really good fun. Nice vibe. Doesn't cost much to do. Only problem is going there, I got stuck in a traffic jam because some people had crashed cars going across the Westgate Bridge. But yeah, I'm going to do it again. Next fortnight, they're doing Possession, that weird film with Sam Neill and Isabella Gianni in it. So I'm going to be doing that. Really great vibe. It's a Christmas party next time around. And they're also announcing the slate of movies they're going to be doing for 2025. So really looking forward to that. Nice vibe, good, simpatico people. And Cinemaniacs is just, movie buffs enjoying themselves en masse and having a great time with it in one of the best cinemas in Melbourne from a cinema point of view. And the great thing is, you go to the Astor, they've got antique movie posters around the walls. They had a big one for Red Planet Mars. They had one of the fake ones from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for Rick Dalton. And they had the Philadelphia Story that I saw. And they've got some more of them upstairs. But it's got a real kind of film buff vibe about it. Along with the Sun Cinemas in Yarraville, it's the other good cinema in Melbourne. And I had a terrific time with it. Are there any kind of encore cinemas or antique cinemas around where you guys live? Because it's great to have them. And unfortunately, there are very, very few of them these days. I know Sydney used to have a couple. The State and the Capitol in Sydney are probably the only now existing remnants of the golden days of cinema, and they've been turned into live theatre venues, which for me is a little bit of a bummer, being a Sydney boy as I am. But so much good stuff and so much wonderful hanging out with people. So I really enjoyed that a lot. Go pause to take a drink now. And if you're in Melbourne and it's Saturday night, you might want to check out if Cinemaniacs is going. So there's that. David says, have I been to the Como cinemas in South Yarra? I've been past them. Haven't been to them. Do you recommend them, David? Because I'm always up for new cinematic experiences, depending, of course, on what's on there. But yeah, I mean, I've been to, what are the ones in Carlton? I've been to a couple of the ones in Carlton. Oh yeah, Ben, there is the Orpheum in Cremorne in Sydney. That's special. Yeah, that one was owned by Mike Walsh, who used to do lunchtime talk shows on TV. I really want to get to the Orpheum next time I'm in Sydney. I really should make a point of it and maybe take my nephew there, because it is a grand flea pit and it's very Art Deco as well, lots of neon. Keep going past it when I'm driving over to Manly down Spit Junction. But yeah, thanks for the reminder on that one, Bedhead. But yeah, cinemas are, I mean, they're my comfort zone. They're kind of my churches in a very real sense. And just going to the Astor was fun. Yeah, it just I'm still kind of vibing on that one. Just a lot of fun. Now, what do you want next, people? Do you want me to talk about the In Memoriam, all the movie people who died in November? Or do you want me to do my not too substantial movie haul? Jam Factory, says David. Yeah, Jam Factory's okay. Jam Factory's kind of new. And Jam Factory's, I don't like the vibe. I think it's kind of that fake cinema vibe that happened in the 90s. I've seen a number of movies at the Jam Factory, David, but it doesn't have the right vibe. It's kind of Disneyland cinema in a sense. It's one of those kind of artificial ones where it's got a kind of faked up vibe about it. What I will be interested in seeing is the Village in Werribee, the Village Cinemas in Werribee is reopening this month after renovations, and I want to see what they do with that. I may well take along my camera and do a bit of a view of that for the channel. Middle-aged Geek Girl wants to see the Memoriam. David says the snack bar prices are bullshit. Never go to the snack bar. You sneak your own food in. Evil Pixie says the old Winter Gardens in Morecambe is currently hosting Silence by the Sea Silent Film Festival. That's cool. Yeah, absolutely. FG, Peter, and David say In Memoriam, so we're going to do the In Memoriam. Yep, okay, Evil Pixie agrees. In Memoriam for November 2024. Jonathan Hayes died. Jonathan Hayes was the original Seymour Krelborn in the old Roger Corman version of Little Shop of Horrors, and he was part of Corman's crew for a long time. He did a number of Roger Corman movies, and he played Seymour, a little Jerry Lewisy, but he also did some dramatic roles in some of the early Roger Corman movies. He was 95 years old, and I haven't seen anything. Hi, David. David Fraser. Yeah, I haven't seen any real commemoration of Jonathan Hayes. He is like the first Seymour before Rick Moranis did it in the musical version of Little Shop of Horrors. There was Jonathan Hayes. Good, solid actor. I've seen him in a few Corman movies, including a couple of the early Corman westerns. And no kidding, he was pretty good at what he did. His career didn't really go anywhere, unfortunately. But still, he was there. He was a friend of Jack Nicholson's and, of course, of Corman's and that kind of thing. So he was the first one who died. Then we got Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones died 91. And these people, most of them did live long lives. But Quincy Jones died. I mean, Quincy Jones's movie music, particularly from the 1960s, when he did a whole bunch of different stuff, including The Italian Job, amongst other things, and some really good, solid jazz soundtracks of the 1960s. Of course, he did go on to work with benighted people like Michael Jackson, but I love his movie music from the 60s. It was varied, it was distinctive, and it never was kind of haphazard. Really, he was dedicated to what he did, and the music always synchronizes perfectly with the movies. He also did the soundtrack to Banning, the wonderful Robert Wagner movie that I love from the 1960s that Imprint have just put out a Blu-ray release of. It's hard to say Blu-ray release. But yeah, Quincy Jones, father of Nora Jones, of course, but fantastic music guy. And I really like particularly those 1960s soundtracks were just bangers all the way. Tony Todd, the original Candyman actor, died. He was 69 now. I was following Tony Todd on Twitter, and I'm not going to call it X and I'll tell you why I'm not calling it X. Because Elon Musk dead names his trans daughter, so I'm going to dead name the platform that Elon Musk owns. That's my little protest against rapacious, insane billionaires. But Tony Todd, really interesting. What Tony Todd would put up on Twitter, which was very, very groovy, was he had a really good jazz album collection, and he put up the name of the tracks and hold up the album as he was playing them in his home. And I kind of like that. Very cool guy, very approachable to fans. He did a lot of those fan meet and greet kind of things, but solid actor. I mean, he could do lighter roles, but he also was fantastic as the original Candyman. Hi, Franny, how you doing? But it's sad that Tony Todd died. I really liked him as an actor. Very distinctive look, but he'll always be the Candyman, and that is not a bad legacy to have. Let's see who else. Got a couple of Australian ones, and I've got show and tells for those. Hang on. Now I'll just get some details up for one of these, so just bear with me for one moment. A guy called Colin Peterson died. Colin Peterson was an Australian musician and actor. He was actually a backing member of the Bee Gees, and he did a whole bunch of different bands in Australia, including one called Humpty Bong for some reason. But the interesting thing about him is he was the star of 2 Australian movies as well. And I'm just getting the details up here. Sorry about this. Anyone that died before they hit their 90s is dying too young. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, Elon Musk is Sissy Spacek. But Colin Peterson was in a couple of movies, Smiley and Smiley Gets a Gun, which were about a country kid in Australia who has adventures. So I only have Smiley. I don't have Smiley Gets a Gun. But he was in there. And I thought I'd commemorate him because he was in movies. Franny says she was good and got all the Christmas shopping done by the end of November. Where you live, it's not a bad thing because it gets bloody cold in December. So I can understand the impetus to get your shopping done in November and then just hunkering down with mulled wine in December. So, anyway, Colin Peterson died. Short movie career, but he was a musician in a whole bunch of bands in Australia in the 60s and 70s. Then Ken Shorter died. By the way, Colin Peterson was 78. Ken Shorter died at the age of 74. And you might not know who Ken Shorter was, but he was the titular character in a classic Ozploitation movie, Stone. There he is there with the machine gun. That's Ken Shorter. His career ended fairly early as a actor, but he's kind of good in Stone, less so than Sandy Harbert and Roger Ward and Vincent Gill and Hugh Keys-Byrne and all of those guys who stole the movie away. but he was a titular character in Stone. And for that, I thought it was worth commemorating him. Again, not a lot of people commemorating him online for some reason. I don't think people read the in memoriam stuff on Wikipedia the way I do. But yeah, he was definitely part of one of the best, well, in fact, the best Australian biker movie ever, Stone, which I saw in the cinemas when it came out. And I'm very happy to have the Umbrella release on Blu-ray so I can enjoy it whenever I want to. But yeah, he died. Another sip of water, because this is thirsty business. By the way, super chats are available, and if I get to 10, I'm going to sing a bit of a song. But yeah, so last one, and Friday says, bought loads of films this month, The Relic and Crank, to give to friends. Crank's great fun. So is Crank Full Throttle as well. Is that the name of the second one? I'd say Crank would be my top 3 favourite Statham movies. Mushishi, a live action. The Limey, Carry On England, Oh What a Lovely War, Gypsy, Young Frankenstein, and The Right Stuff. That is a good haul, Franny, and a good lot of gifts to give to people. The Relic I love. I particularly love the fact they put in James Whitmore amongst other people in The Relic. I think it's an underrated monster movie from the 90s, and I just enjoy it. And also in 4K, Seven Samurai and Watership Down. Yeah, Watership Down's a great movie for traumatizing children with. But yeah, Seven Samurai I could watch every year, and in fact I probably should. Or no, what I should do is I should dive into the Kurosawa stuff that I've got that I haven't watched it, like Drunken Angel. I should watch that. And Stray Dog, I think it is, the gangster movie with Toshiro Mifune. I should dive into those early in the new year and just kind of fill some gaps in my Kurosawa knowledge. But yeah, good hauls, Farney. Fantastic. Yeah, so the last person I've got for the In Memoriam, Earl Holliman. People know him probably as the cook in Forbidden Planet, amongst other things. He did a whole bunch of movies, and he's iconic for me for a very specific movie. 1955's A Big Combo, which starred Cornel Wilde and Richard Conte. And he was one of the first gay gangster couples in film noir. There were a couple of gangsters who were henchmen for Richard Conte's character called Fante and Mingo, played by Lee Van Cleef and Earl Holliman. And Earl Holliman played Mingo, the survivor, at least for a time, of the two. Yep, FG says he was in the first episode of Twilight Zone, yes. But Mingo and Fante were essayed in the movie as a gay couple. And when Fante gets blown up by a bomb that goes off at the wrong time, Mingo is really angry and really shattered by it. And there is no way that the couple, that those two characters could be interpreted as anything but a gay couple. And that's really interesting. What's more interesting is Earl Holliman was gay. He was married, and his husband was the person who announced his death. He was also a vegetarian. He did a lot of animal rights stuff. He was in Policewoman with Angie Dickinson in the 1970s. He was in The Power, the George Pal movie that Byron Haskin directed, which is a really interesting 1960s science fiction movie. So he's in a lot of genre stuff. But I've got a lot of respect for Earl Holliman for that animal activism. He was a vegetarian. He talked the talk and walked the walk. And it's a bit sad that he died, but he did last to 95, so then maybe there's something in vegetarianism. Which, so that was my list of In Memoriam for November 2024. I'll do a December one in my New Year's Eve live stream, which is going to be coming out 10 p.m. on the 31st, going through to 1 a.m. on the 1st of January. So I'm going to be doing that again. It'll be my third annual New Year's Eve live stream for all of the people who don't want to go out and get trampled by hordes of drunken people in the streets. So what do you think of that? Didn't have any women, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, they didn't die, but there were no famous movie-related women who died in November that I could find, which I suppose is a good thing. For gender equality, it's not particularly a good thing, but it's a good thing as a general thing. I'm going to move on, he said, taking another sip of water. Middle-aged Geek Girl says, or if you are somewhere that COVID is rampant again, yeah. There's been a resurgence in COVID. I've really got to talk to my doctor about getting my booster shot for that, and also getting one for Middle-aged Geek Girl as well. We are in high-risk groups because we're human beings and we have pre-existing conditions. So we've got to do that, and I would suggest that everybody else do it as well, because it's particularly in an age where the people who are going to be running the American government are anti-vaxxers, amongst other people. It is a good time to get your boosters now before everything gets totally crazy in that part of this clay and granite planet. But I'm going to move on to movie halls, and then I'm going to do movies we watched. So I'll put it to the Vox Pop. Do you want the movie halls first, or do you want the movies that I have watched first? I'll leave it up to you guys for a minute or two to decide. Franny says watched. Thank you, Franny. And there's a really cool comedy that was totally off my radar in that list, so it's a good choice there. If I get two more on one way or the other, I'll pick that one. Just waiting. I've really got to clean up this desk too. There's so much shit on this desk. I'm not going to show it to you because you wouldn't understand what you're seeing. I will show you that I got last time I went to Reading Cinemas. Ben Ed says I'm easy. That's nice to know, Ben. Is anybody single? Because Ben Ed's easy. Tell you what, I'll do the movie. I'll do watched first. And I'm sorry for that cough. Where is it? There it is. My list of movies. I'll do the ones that I haven't mentioned on the channel because that makes a lot of sense. I've got about 6 or 8 of them. I saw a horror movie which was produced by Sam Raimi called Don't Move, which is a really pared back horror movie, which Middle-aged Geek Girl recommended to me because she saw it on, I think it was on Netflix. It's basically the story of a woman who is off in the countryside. She's gone on a hike for very personal reasons. And she's off on there, and a man approaches her and kidnaps her. He's a serial killer. And he injects her in the neck with a drug that paralyzes her over time. And then she runs away, and he chases her. And she's got to try to defeat this guy, who's a total friggin' nutcase, while at least part of the time totally paralyzed, or at least partially paralyzed by this drug. She escapes. She, slides into a river and gets carried down the river, and then somehow gets to shore and is found by an old man. And it becomes this whole thing where she's somebody who's got no advantages at all in this cat and mouse game, but uses her smarts and circumstances to defeat this nasty piece of shit serial killer who has a complicated family life. He's got a wife and kid. And there's been a few of these where there's a serial killer. I mean, Trapper's another one, where there's a serial killer who's got like a wife and a kid who he loves, but he's got this kind of hobby of killing people. Really weird phenomenon at the moment where, maybe it's a kind of demonization of family men who have got hidden secrets, because there are a lot of those who are coming out and being revealed by circumstance these days. So the kind of go-to serial killer at the moment is a family man who is secretly a total piece of shit, and I can understand that. But Don't Move is a nice small budget, really well scripted little horror movie, which is worth checking out. Now let's have a look here. I'll do this anyway. I've actually got the 4K of this. It's part of my movie haul, so I'm crossing over the movie hauls and the movies I've watched. I hadn't seen this one for must be decades, but it came up cheaply on 4K at JB Hi-Fi. They had a 30% off, and I tend to. I don't know what it's like where you are, but here in Australia, there's little Luna and middle-aged geek girl. So 4Ks here. They tend to be really prosaic movies, like big mainstream movies, are the only ones we see on 4K here in Australia at the outlet stores and things like that. It's really great that companies like Imprint and Umbrella are putting out 4Ks of more obscure and more interesting movies. But most of the 4Ks you see on the shelves when you go into JB Hi-Fi, and we got these up at Northland, near where that Saver store I was mentioning is. And I watched Catch a Thief with. Okay, I'm live, and I don't know whether anyone else is going to be able to see this, but it's definitely going live. And it's a new stream, unfortunately. The last one booked itself. I'm going to have to I've got a couple of ideas what went wrong, one of which is my antivirus detected the stream as something wrong and triggered that, which is less than wonderful. But I am on a new live stream, and I'm going to put something into the community tab to try to help people out with this, because it's driving me mad. Let's see, community. Let's have a look here. Yep, there are 2 people on there, so thanks for finding the stream, the 2 people who've come back on board. And yeah, sorry about that. I really apologize. Hi, Bended, how you doing? But yeah, so we'll see how we go with this technology. It probably is my antivirus, so I'm going to have to change the antivirus I use, because that's not something that I think should happen on a live stream, and it messes me up. It messes the business up. So we'll see how we go. And it looks like more people are coming onto the live stream, which is good. We'll work from there. Okay, so I'll just continue. I watched. Hi, Dick. How you doing? Didn't get a notification when you're doing a live stream now. That's strange, because I did have a live stream going, and then it shut itself. And I'm back onto the live stream. So you'll see 2 live streams if you go back into the history on the channel. This one I bought at the same time I bought To Catch a Thief. And it's a Ralph Nelson film, a Western, which I'm told is very violent for a Western of its time. It's a thing called Soul Blue, which has Candice Bergman, Peter Strauss, Donald Pleasance, and John Anderson in it. Haven't seen this, but I kept hearing for a long time how violent this Western is. And it's odd that it came out on 4K here in Australia, because it doesn't seem like the kind of thing that a mainstream lot would put out on 4K here. And the weird thing about it is it's got the censorship classifications for England and Europe on the disc itself. So that's a little bit of an odd thing. What have we missed? Lots of things, because I was going for about 48 minutes. Sorry, for about 35 minutes. But lots of stuff. You can watch the other live stream, which will be now live and archived on the channel. But did an in memoriam, talked about Cinemaniacs that I went and saw a movie at. Lots of things there. We've got 8 people, so people are slowly finding the new live stream, which is good. And I can understand where people say you should use Linux. I'll stick with Windows on this machine, because there's so much that I use, particularly my editing software, which is Windows only. There isn't a Linux version of Filmora that I can use for the editing. But yeah, so people who have rejoined the live stream, and I've got 10 people now, just give me a shout out and tell me you found the new live stream so I know with whom I'm talking. So, yep, yeah, Soldier Blue, To Catch a Thief. I did pick up the third in the Maxine Minx trilogy. Ty West's middle-aged good girls there now. Ty West's movie trilogy has started out with X and Pearl. So I've got a copy of Maxine on Blu-ray. There wasn't a 4K option. I'm not sure I would upgrade to 4K because I've got Pearl on DVD and I've got X on Blu-ray. So I picked that up. Hi, Franny. Thank you for finding the new live stream, and hopefully it won't die in the arse this time around. So I've got that. Glad I got the trilogy. I like them. Maxine, I think I like slightly less than the other two, but still not too bad. Dick says, had some buffering and sound loss at the beginning to finding this one. Yep, what a kerfuffle, middle-aged geek girl. It's not good. Evil Pixie says, hi there, my cat is missing the buffering circle. Well, you can always put up I'm sure there's a YouTube video somewhere of like 55 hours of buffering circle you can put on for the cat later. There's a YouTube channel for everything. The other things I got this for $1, which I think is a good buy. I've actually got 2 of the movies, but I don't have the other one, so I picked it up anyway. Kind of romantic movies of the 1950s. An Affair to Remember, Love is a Many Splendid Thing, and The King and I. I've got The King and I and An Affair to Remember already, but I didn't have Love is a Many Splendid Thing, so I got that. They're on individual discs, which is useful. But I thought I'd get those. I don't mind an occasional romantic drama from the 1950s. They're usually beautifully made, particularly the studio ones. King and I is not my favourite musical. Roger says, nice to see you moving. I'm not moving. I mean, I'm happy where I live. I know what you mean, but yeah. Nightmarish stuff. And I'm going to definitely change my antivirus after we finish this live stream because it sucks. And I don't want that to recur, of course, particularly on the New Year's Eve live stream. I really want that to be a banger. And so the 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. New Year's Eve live stream is going to be fun. Franny says An Affair to Remember is a great movie. It is. And I remember when I went to the top of the Empire State Building, that's the one movie I thought of, apart from King Kong, when I was at the top of the Empire State Building, was An Affair to Remember, because, of course, it is in the movie. But, nice to get those ones. And An Affair to Remember isn't that difficult to find here in Australia. But Love is a Many Splendid Thing is slightly more difficult to find. How do I know it was the antivirus? The reason I think it might be the antivirus, middle-aged geek girl, is I got a pop-up from the antivirus saying it blocked some suspicious connections. And I think it triggered the stream. And that is not something I want to continue, of course. I'm running a business here. Here's some other things I've got. Great musical from the 1940s, 1946, I think. On the Town. Frank Sinatra, Gene Kelly, Betty Garrett, Ann Miller. One of the classic musicals. Didn't have a copy of On the Town. I did check. Franny says she saw the DVD compilation in the CEX store downstairs. Cool. But yeah, so On the Town, beautiful musical. This one, I think it's Stanley Donen. Yes, it is Stanley Donen. Directed by Gene Kelly and Stanley Donen. First musical, really, to be filmed partly on this location on the streets of New York. A classic. I'm glad I got it in the collection now. It is on DVD, so it's not like 4K or Blu-ray, but I don't particularly mind that. It's in the old Academy ratio, so it doesn't matter that much. Franny says, that one's on my need to get list. Yeah, I'm On the Town. Classic. And I love it. Yeah, I may well watch it in January. I'm not sure what I'm doing for the rest of the month, apart from rewatching Die Hard on 4K. Yeah, Peter, we're back. We're doing stuff. Yeah, sorry about the glitches, people, but that antivirus is going to be history. Hi, Colgers. Hey, like Jerry, my son and I had a great time last night watching Sunny Chiba on my recommendation. So I just wanted to say thanks for the tip. All the best from Latvia and keep up the great work. Thank you, and stay warm in Latvia. It's fraught times around your part of the world, so look after yourself, definitely. Roger says you piqued my interest with your science fiction Saturday picks a new of Eastern Europeans' first spaceship to Venus, but didn't know about the bubble and in 3D, but not available in the UK. It's on YouTube. Yeah, I know. If you look up the Silent Star on YouTube, you'll find the first spaceship on Venus in the good version. And I would recommend that. Don't bother with any of the American cut-down versions that were done by cheap-ass distributors back in the day. There are some really woeful prints of first spaceship on Venus around there. And that was the first version of it I got, was a truly shitty print of it. Friday says, 1st of December, so Die Hard has been watched as the opener to my Christmas movie season. Good, Friday. Last year, I watched Die Hard in the cinema because the local Reading cinema had an evening session of Die Hard on the big screen. And I'd never seen Die Hard on the big screen up until then, because first time I saw it was on VHS. And I did a whole, if you look up Die Hard on the channel, I did a whole thing about how I won $500 watching Die Hard back in 1989. And Friday says, Disney lists Die Hard as a Christmas movie. Hi, Cinema Dave. How you doing? People should check out Cinema Dave's channel as well. Does a lot of movie stuff. And also, he and his band, him and his mate have a band, and they're doing their own Christmas song soon. So looking forward to that, Dave. And thanks for joining us, mate. And hi to you and Jesse. The last movie I got in my haul, and by the way, I've got a whole bunch of Black Friday things I've ordered that haven't arrived yet. And I will do a haul video about some really freaky stuff that I've picked up for the Black Friday sales. This one's one of the kitchen sink English dramas from the 1960s. A Taste of Honey. Picked up a copy of that. This one's a little hard to find, so I'm very happy I got a copy of it. Rita Tushingham's directed by Tony Richardson. Screenplay by Sheila Delaney based on her play. This is one of the first UK movies that was gay positive, because Murray Melville plays a character who befriends Rita Tushingham's character when she's pregnant. And it's one of the first really positive portrayals of a gay character in an English drama. So I'm glad I got that. I think it's an important film to have. Got that free with The Guardian, says Franny. Was that The Taste of Honey? Because, yeah, it's a solid movie. I remember I saw it on late night TV when I was a callow teenager. And it's one of those movies that started me on that kind of LGBTQIA plus positivity, because I grew up in an incredibly homophobic milieu in the western suburbs of Sydney. Everybody I know was a total hater, and that was the culture I grew up in. And I went on a journey of having a more positive viewpoint, partly because of movies and partly because I got out in the world and met people. Roger says, already started with the Christmas movies. 1950 Scrooge, is that the one with Alastair Sim? And the original Miracle on 34th Street. You'll believe, like US Post Office, Kris Kringle is Santa. Yeah, I kind of don't mind Miracle on 34th Street, but my go-to Christmas movies are the transgressive ones. A very Harold and Kumar Christmas. Die Hard, of course. What else is a good Christmas movie for you? Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. That's another Christmas movie. Yeah. Gremlins and The Nightmare Before Christmas must be watched too. We've got Gremlins, Middle-Aged Geek Girl, so you can always watch that. Ben Ed says, this week I watched Fall Guy, Day of the Animals, which I love. Nessie Nielsen going mad and wrestling a bear. Long Legs, The Conformist, and The Substance. Long Kiss Goodnight, Evil Pixie 96. Absolutely. Long Kiss Goodnight is fantastic. Hi, Lee. How you doing? Invasion USA is a Crimbo movie, says Adam. Which version? The original version or the one with Chuck Norris? Never understood the love of Chuck Norris particularly. He wasn't a good actor. And I first encountered Chuck Norris when he was killed by Bruce Lee in the Colosseum in Way of the Dragon. Okay, it's Norris. Yeah, he's bland. He could not act his way out of a parking ticket. I mean, really bad. The other thing I got, by the way, at the op shop, and middle-aged geek girl and I checked that we didn't already have it, and this one is very salient for current conditions. I actually got a PS4 game, Wolfenstein: The New Order. I picked up that for, I think, $3 or something. It is a PS4 game, but I thought I should pick up more games where you kill Nazis, because I think it's you're putting your flag up on the mast when you play games. Yeah, it was an EB game, sorry, but it didn't cost very much. But yeah, killing Nazis is always a good thing. Friday says, jingle all the way, the debate continues, mediocrity, cashing comedy, or genius, satirical commentary on capitalism. Yeah, I can see that. I haven't watched Jingle All the Way for a long time. But yeah, I can see it being a Christmas movie. But, I mean, still your ultimate Christmas movie is Die Hard. I mean, you can't argue the point there. I think canonically it's become a Christmas movie now, 100%. And sorry, like a middle-aged geek says, we did get it at EB Games. But I should put that into the PS4, which I've got underneath this computer monitor now. I've got this set up where there's this screen, which is the computer with the camera above it. Camera. And I've got the mic hooked up. But next to it, I've got my Samsung TV hooked up to the PlayStation. So, and I use the PlayStation mostly if I want to watch a Blu-ray or a DVD and the disc setup rather than going in the other room. So, yeah, I might kill some Nazis later. Bad Santa says, Better. Not that keen on Billy Bob Thornton. I think he's a very mannered actor. I don't particularly like him. Friday says, I discovered there's a second Jingle All the Way. I don't think I want to brave that one, though. Fair enough. Middle-aged geek girl says she watched The Ritual and Demonic on Netflix. That's very on brand for you, middle-aged geek girl. Hi, Dave. Yep. The other movie, I haven't mentioned the other movie I watched. And I should have mentioned it because it's the most fun comedy I've watched probably this year. And it stars Kristen Wiig, and it's one of those movies that got lost during the recent pandemic unpleasantness. And by the way, Adam, you're right. The Silent Partner is a great one. Original National Lampoon's Vacation. That's been tarnished for me because I found out how much of a shit Chevy Chase has been for the last 40 years. Last 50 years, come to think of it. But this comedy, starring Kristen Wiig, is called Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, which is a story about these two middle-aged besties who get the sack from their job working in a furniture store and decide to go on a vacation to this Florida resort, not knowing that the resort is going to be attacked by an evil woman who has had somebody genetically engineer a horde of lethal mosquitoes. And it's a kind of cross between a buddy comedy and Stella gets her groove back and a kind of spy movie. It's got Austin Powers vibes as well. And yes, this live stream is truly live. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. Lots of great comedy. And Kristen Wiig and the other woman, I think her name is Anne Mumolo, are fantastic. They've been writing partners for years. And Jamie Dornan, who is the Temu version of Henry Cavill, is great in Barb and Star, Bed-Ed. It's a great comedy. I really enjoyed it. I heard about it because it's one of Margot Robbie's favorite movies, which is really like weird, but yeah. But Barb and Star is a comedy you should definitely see. Solid comedy. There's a dual role for Kristen Wiig because she plays the evil woman who is trying to destroy this one beachside resort because of a childhood trauma. It's really it's so meta and fun and transgressive in a very subtle way. But the characters are very endearing. The comedy's great. It's just a lot of feel good fun. Middle Aged Geek Girl hasn't watched it yet, but Bet Ed recommended Middle Aged Geek Girl that she should watch it. Middle Aged Geek Girl says, "Don't watch the TV series of Chucky though; it's horrendous." I wasn't inclined to. Much as I love Brad Dourif, I don't think I want to watch a TV series about Chucky because I don't have enough interest in that. But yeah, so I kind of looked at the Christmas movies coming up. Adam says Ronin is slightly a Christmas movie set if people want a bit of action, fun times. Yeah, Ronin's a great movie. I like Ronin. It's got that beautiful Remy Julien car chase stuff in it. Peter says the only Christmas movie I like is The Grinch, mainly because I'm a fan of Taylor Momsen, who plays Cindy Lou. Hot Frosty says Middle-aged Geek Girl. Yeah, Die Hard's still my go-to, and Harold and Kumar, because I love Danny Trejo wearing a Christmas sweater. And the Harold and Kumar one is fun. Trading Places, yep, a Christmas revenge movie. Jamie Lee Curtis does look great and does get unclad in that movie, admittedly. But yeah, the Christmas movies are such a wide thing now. But I do like Shane Black Christmas movies because they're all action films, including Iron Man 3, which I think is the underrated Iron Man movie. I like the arc of Tony Stark having PTSD because, you know, he basically pushed a bloody nuke through a wormhole into outer space, and yeah, elfing scalper scumbags. Yeah, Vinegar Syndrome, limited edition case of The Keep, which dropped on Black Friday, is sold out. Copies have been surfacing on eBay for crazy money. Yeah, I mean, I never understood the love of The Keep. I think it's interesting, but it's got this cult following, whereas it's not particularly a great movie. But yeah, there is some interesting stuff coming out too over Christmas. I should mention that. Not in the cinema, but I know there's a really good box set of The Never-Ending Story that's coming out over Christmas. I'm trying to remember whether it's Umbrella or Imprint who are putting it out. Hi, Emmy, how you doing? But yeah, there are some great releases from Umbrella and Imprint coming out on disc over the holiday season and into next year as well. I just got the list of review copies that I can get from Umbrella, and so there's a lot of good stuff there, including a 4K of Eyes Without a Face, the Georges Franju horror movie. Adam says imprint at cost a mint. Yeah, it can do. Cheaper where I am, but Imprint is just releasing so much good stuff. There'll be months with the Imprint stuff where everything is in my jam. There are months when it isn't, and there are a whole bunch of 80s dramas that I'm not 100% in love with. But I think they are really good at finding deep cuts in the same way that Umbrella is. Middle-aged Geek Girl says, you know, the Never-Ending Story is the cause of most Gen X trauma. No, I think the cause of most Gen X trauma is boomer parents. Dean says, I just watched online Alien Romulus. What a mess. It looks like they put all the prior Alien films in a blender, dragged the contents, and vomited it into a bucket. I haven't seen Alien Romulus. To be honest with you, I'm not that in love with the Alien franchise. I like the Predator franchise a lot more because the Alien franchise, the monster does a few things, but there's no real nuance into it. And Alien itself, and this is a controversial take, and I'm willing to take bullets on this, is basically a haunted house movie set on a spaceship. Janet says, for us, we did Captain Newman MD and Holiday Affair with Janet Leigh and Robert Mitchum. Happy New Year with Lino Ventura and Francois Fabian. Haven't heard of Happy New Year, but I do like a bit of Lino Ventura, one of the great tough guy actors who doesn't get a lot of love. Not a Hero 911 says, sorry, I've started my Christmas celebrating early, so I may be a little drunk. Got no problem with that. Just hydrate after you finish. Emily says, my favourite Christmas movies take place over the 12 days of the holidays. Metropolitan by Whit Stillman, Comfort and Joy by Bill Forsyth, and Dinah. Yeah, I can see that. They're honest choices. Um, I've got friends, and real life friends who are on Facebook as well, who watch all of the Hallmark Christmas movies and then have a great time and a fun time bitching about them on Facebook and other social media. I'm not going to watch them because they're going to bore the shit out of me, but I can see that as a kind of path for people to take. Alien has mystery though. What does the alien want? What will it do? It will reproduce. That's it. Basically, it's a haunted house movie where the monster wants to make babies in you. Middle-aged geek girl says, "You got friends?" Yes, I have friends, middle-aged geek girl, and you know it because we go out and have lunch and dinner with some of them. My friend Alyssa is mad about Hallmark movies. Aliens is a good sequel because it changes genre. Absolutely frightening. I mean, that's the exception. Is it becomes a solid military in space action film. But Alien sequels, I mean, tell me a new story. Give me a new monster. Show me something that reflects and the scary things about our contemporary era, which is why movies like They Live really hit. Because in the Reagan era in America, They Live hit all of the soft spots of contemporary culture. Our consumerism, capitalism, rich people doing egregious things. That's why it lasts now. That's why I've got it on 4K, come to think of it. But movies like They Live and other good horror movies really reflect contemporary fears and concerns. Peter says, franchises tend to dilute the gene pool of what often starts out as a good idea, Alien, Star Wars, Fast and Furious, etc. Yeah, they milk the cash cow till it becomes beef jerky. They sell the jerky and then complain that no one wants to buy the bones. Not a hero, you didn't like the Deacon? What's the Deacon? Not a hero at 9/11. I saw They Live in the movies, never was among the more uncomfortable theatre audiences in all my life. Fair enough. ME says Alien Romulus is just recycled dialogue and scenes from the franchise. Inevitably going to happen because, to be honest with you, the Alien franchise doesn't have a lot of meat on the bone these days. Which is a bit of a shame, but that's the way it is. The Deacon is a form of proto-alien. Yeah, I can understand that because, preachers are known to be predatory. But, I think this is the live stream. When I start an AMA, so people can ask me questions, ask me anything about movies, ask me personal stuff, and I'll filter out what I tell you. But I'm happy to kind of start answering things. And also, super chats are available. I've got to mention that because for middle-aged geek girls. So what is it? It's 8:10 a.m. in the morning here. And I promised middle-aged geek girl I'd take her out for a muffin and a coffee after we do this because that's how I pay her. Lee says Romulus seemed wasted somehow. It's basically milking the franchise. And that annoys me. I would rather see 100 original small films like Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar than see another iteration of a tired franchise, which is the interesting thing that the Predator franchise did. When Prey came out, they took the monster into a totally different culture and a totally different era and refreshed the shit out of it. Prey is a good movie. That's another one I did get on 4K because it's a solid action film and expands the universe in which it's placed. Have I seen Nectronic? Yeah, I did. It's not bad. It's kind of good for low budget. Nectronic's a bit of fun. Dean says, this is a season for repetitive storyline Hallmark Christmas movies. Nothing wrong with formula movies, but yeah. Evil Pixie 96 says, most of the Alien franchises rely on at least one character being stupid, not the first two movies. Yeah. I mean, that takes me out of horror movies a lot. There's even Halloween, the original Halloween, where Jamie Lee Curtis's character drops the knife next to Michael Myers after she thinks she's killed him. I would not be putting anything anywhere near it. That kind of stuff, it makes me feel less about the protagonist when the protagonist does willfully stupid things. Because, you've just been attacked by whatever. You're going to be hyper vigilant and doing stupid stuff. Don't like it. I like it when protagonists do smart stuff. Like Sarah Connor in all of the Terminator movies learns through her experiences with the Terminators and becomes what she needs to be to prevail. I like that, but I don't like dumb decisions made by protagonists in these kind of movies. Adam says, I thought Prey was mid. Romulus slightly better than mid. No, I kind of like Prey, and I like the culture change there, which works. And strong female protagonists are great fun for me. And increasingly, I'm tired of seeing stories about middle-aged guys doing stuff. Die Hard aside, I like seeing movies from a different viewpoint, like The Substance, very female-oriented movie, which I'm totally there for. And I saw Revenge, which is Coralie Fargett's previous movie, which is a kind of very contained revenge film, which fantastic stuff. If you haven't seen Revenge, you got to check that movie out. Adam says, Romulus has a bit of class oppression angle. Yeah, I'm cynical about class warfare done by billionaire corporations. It feels a bit like reducing the pressure rather than putting it on, if you know what I mean. But I'm trying to work out too, what should I watch next? Because there's tons of stuff I've got. And you kind of, you've got an enormous stack, slightly shorter than the Burj Khalifa, of movies to watch. And it's always hard to pick the one you want to watch next. Dean says, isn't there some Predator or Alien that's been produced for Hulu for next summer? Possibly. I hope it's a good one, particularly if it's a Predator movie. I do like that franchise a lot more than I like the Alien franchise. Friday says, plus Prey has the option to be sold to the History Channel as a documentary. Yeah. There's also a version of it done in, I don't know whether it's Lakota or one of the First Nations languages of America, but I think there's a dub or a subtitle version in First Nations language. Adam says, don't watch the new Street Trash or Rumours, both awful. Thanks for the advice on that one. And the thing is that stuff that's coming out in cinemas I'm not interested in. Mufasa I'm not interested in, because the original Lion King stole from Kimba the White Lion. The Tetsuo Osamu's original anime was egregiously stolen by Disney to make the Lion King. And I will never watch a Lion King movie for that reason. Stealing from Kimba the White Lion is just somewhere I don't think people should go. And of course, Disney historically has stolen stories from other cultures a lot. That reminds me of the Disney story of the wedding. Went to one of middle-aged geek girls. Dean says, have I changed my style of beard? I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't, Dean. I can do this with this. We'll just see where we go with it. I have changed it a bit. Anyway, middle-aged geek girl and I went to a cousin's wedding. And it was in a Catholic church, which is not our jam at all. And so we're in this Catholic church in the northern suburbs. And they've got one of those kind of 40-ish, trying to be hip as fuck priests doing the service. So he decides he's going to do the preachy bit, and starts talking about Disney princesses as a metaphor for marriage. And the one he chooses is Pocahontas. And middle-aged geek girl and I look at each other and go, does this guy know that the real Pocahontas was stolen from her culture and died at the age of 22 because she was put into a culture where she had no immunity to any of their diseases and was assaulted by a whole bunch of people and had a really shit life? No, he just decided he was going to use that. Yeah, Disney princesses are problematic unless it's Frankenfurter in Rocky Horror. But yeah, we went to the wedding and yeah, the food was actually not too good at the reception, and they watered down the cocktails. The catering there needed to be lined up by the back wall and shot. Not a great wedding, but the Christian stuff and the Catholic stuff at the church was weird, to say the least. Anybody gone to a really crap wedding? I went to one where 2 weeks out, it was at Hilton Park. This is years and years ago. I went to a wedding at Park. Nice couple, beautiful woman, handsome guy. 3 weeks later, the wife left the husband for a veterinarian. So you never know with weddings, they're a dice roll. Adam says, never stint on the booze. Absolutely. Middle-aged geek girl and I got married at the park down the end of the street that I'm on now. And we had the reception in our backyard here. And it was a lot of fun. People had a great time. The food was okay. We didn't stint on the booze. We had my father-in-law as the bartender, along with my friend Rose. With good vibes. Carol says, hey, Terry, Disney and the priest glossed over the fact Pocahontas was 12 as well. Yeah, all of that. And, you know, I was tempted to go up and kind of disabuse him with this notion that Pocahontas was a good analogy for marriage. But I thought, no, I'm not going to bother. Don't care enough about this guy or about what he does or his career path to really do anything but make this into an anecdote for a live stream. Hi, Paul. Paul from Illinois here. Just watched the 27 science fiction movie Photon on YouTube. Blown away, even without understanding half of the dialogue. Polish with subtitles. Haven't seen it, but I am writing that down. Thanks a lot for that, Paul. Always up for recommendations, mate. And thank you for being in the channel, being part of the live stream. Yeah, there I am. Here I am. Yeah, this is driving me nuts. Nightmares. Hi, Dick, how you doing? You found us again. Yep, you're back. I'm back as well. Hopefully this will last for the half an hour or so we've got to go. Yeah, sorry about this, but I'm definitely going to get a new modem this week and hook it up because this can't prevail. And I'm going to change the antivirus as well. Just a pain in the ass, and I am sorry to everybody that this kind of egregious shit's happened. So I'm going to close the old... No, I won't close the old one. I'll leave that open for now. What a way to end the year. No, there's going to be the New Year's Eve live stream, and I'm going to make sure everything's fixed by then. But how's Luna doing? Luna's fine. Luna's running around. I think she's outside and wants to come in again now. Hi, Lee. Hi, Evil Pixie. I am so sorry about this. Totally. What I will do is I'm going to download all of the live streams, the 3 that I've done so far, and hopefully not a 4th. And I'll lace them together into one video and put it up on the channel as well, so that people can get all of the live stream stuff in one go. Yep, Lee, I'm doing a New Year's Eve live stream. It'll be at 11 p.m. Melbourne time on New Year's Eve, going through to 1 a.m. It'll be the 3rd annual. Not a Hero says, not my fault. We love you and we understand. Thank you. I appreciate that sympathy and that support. But yeah, I'm going to be doing the New Year's Eve live stream, 3rd annual one. Going to find some cool stuff to do. If you want to see something on a New Year's Eve live stream, let me know as well. Always up for ideas because it's a lot of fun. And that time of night, we see the fireworks, and I usually have the other TV showing the fireworks on TV, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, it's just going to be a groove. But yeah, I've definitely got to. First off, I'm going to get that antivirus fixed, and secondly, we're going to get a new modem, because the one we've got it's got to be 10 or 12 years old now. So I really can't afford not to have a decent connection if I'm going to do this, which apart from being a lot of fun is a business. So I've definitely got to get that happening. Not a Hero says, please don't hate me, but lately I've gotten a lot of old movies. I want to know what I think of The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I think it's a great graphic novel series. I think it's less great movie. Router or modem? Yeah, the white box we're going to replace Middle-aged Geek Girl. Roger says, hey, in the past, the idea you could talk to the world from your house would be science fiction. Absolutely. I never don't appreciate the connectivity that we have in the 21st century, and I'm always there for that. Have I seen Vera Cruz? Thoughts on old? I like Vera Cruz. Gary Cooper, is it Mitchum in Vera Cruz? Yeah, I've seen it. And I like the fact that it's set in a different part of Mexico than the usual North Mexico stuff that you get in Westerns. Lancaster, yeah, I apologize, Burt Lancaster. Vera Cruz is a lot of fun. And yeah, that location in southern Mexico adds a lot to it as well. And having the swinging dicks of Cooper and Lancaster working against each other and with each other works well. It's always a nice dynamic in those kind of action films where you have kind of a veteran action star coming up against the young Turks, and that kind of dynamic can work really well if both of them know what they're doing, and if they're not trying to one-up each other in the real world, even if their characters are. That kind of chemistry can work if you've got the right couple of actors. Not here says, never understood why people don't like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It was better than half the crap out at the time. Yes, but it was a lot worse than the graphic novels. The graphic novels had a lot more depth, and I think the characters are a lot more solid in the graphic novels than they ever were in the movie. The graphic novels are fantastic. Yeah, Cooper's fun. I mean, my favorite Cooper movie is The Fountainhead, because that one is just mad. It's neurotic as hell. It's got some of the best phallic symbolism in any American cinema. That one I recommend. It's based on an Ayn Rand novel, but it's just a weird movie and over the top and politically totally stuffed. Mad film. Yeah, The Fountainhead is just fun to watch, but never to be taken seriously. Yep. Yeah, sad swan song for Sean Connery and John. Yeah. Yep. And Evil Pixie's right. The graphic novel, Mina Harker is the leader and the protagonist, not Alan Quatermain. Friday says Ayn Rand wrote the screenplay. Yeah, Ayn Rand's really weird. That kind of objectivism stuff of Ayn Rand's, where she ended up basically being on a pension and being on the dole. It's an interesting arc for an author like that. Not a Hero says, given Terry O'Meara, I could have done without Dorian Gray being inserted in the movie, but he wasn't in the graphic novel. But what the hell was up with Tom Sawyer? It was an American, they'd have an American character in there. That's why they do it. Yeah, Fountainhead is a trip. Fountainhead's just such mad fun, and I just love it for that. Graphic novels and movies. The two Sin City films, I think they're visually interesting. I think they're a different way of telling stories in a film. And they do have that film noir background. I think that I didn't mind the Sin City movies. I don't think they're fantastic, but I think they're honest adaptations of the graphic novels. What was the other one I was thinking of too? There's other graphic novel adaptations. I mean, The Watchmen. I like the series of The Watchmen more than I like the movie of The Watchmen. What's Fountainhead? Selznick feels very Selznick. It could well have been. I'm not going to look it up right now, but it's definitely got that feel about it. There is some really good special effects work in The Fountainhead, which I appreciated, and some over-the-top acting, not just by Gary Cooper, who's given a whole bunch of speeches, and a whole bunch of intellectual stuff, which is not Gary Cooper's strong suit. Patricia Neal was good in it. Have you seen the Atlas Shrugged movies that they did make? Not a Hero? Because they're incredibly cheap and incredibly bad. Yep, Adam, the end shot of Fountainhead is epic. Friday says, I love the Fountainhead as it speaks to the nature of individualism, but it's also a warning, not that Rand intended it that way, but it explains much of America today. There's a really weird thing on YouTube, which is kind of fun, where there are people who voted for Trump who suddenly realize that they've got parents or family members who are illegal immigrants, and that they voted for Trump, but Trump is going to throw their family out of America. There's a lot of those kind of threads happening at the moment, which is tragic, but kind of understandable. Patricia Neal was wonderful in it. Patricia Neal never did a bad acting role in her life. Evil Picture says, I'm always surprised by how many graphic novels by Alan Moore have been adapted to movies and the way he's disowned them all. Alan Moore's a grump. What you've got to do, and I've got friends who have sold stories they've written and novels they've written to movies. And the thing that I've learned from them is let go of it once you've sold it. You've sold the rights to the story. You've made your bucks. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay in your lane, in a sense. And you know they're going to screw up your story and your book or your novel, your graphic novel, when they make it into a movie. But that's the price you pay for selling the story. You give up the right to have full veto on the narrative. Your story will always be there. Your graphic novel will always be there. Your book will always be there. If somebody screws it up as a movie, that's on them. Robert Wise. I think Robert Wise was okay, but I don't like Robert Wise. For a start, he's the editor that screwed up the Magnificent Ambersons while Orson Welles was in South America. And apart from a couple of things like The Haunting, he never really impressed me that much. ME says, the CBC recently had a report on how audiences in screenings of Wicked are singing and texting and taking selfies. Cineplex management had given up trying to enforce the rules. I think those people should be watching it on streaming. I'm probably going to see the Wicked movie at some stage, but I'm fairly sure I'm not going to see it in the cinema. I don't mind a musical. If people tell me it's a good musical, I'm going to withhold judgment until I see it. But I think if you want to watch a movie, either go to a session early in the morning when the kids aren't awake yet, like a 10 a.m. session. The two sweet spots here, at least, are first session in the morning or a session about 2:30 in the afternoon before school's out. If you're going to see a movie and you want to have a serene experience, that's the time to go see them. Roger Moore, Adam says, Wise was probably ordered to do that. Too bad. If you're going to screw up somebody else's movie, go somewhere else. Alan Moore lives near me in Northampton, says Roger. Saw him walking towards me in the street, looked in a right moody, so I didn't say hello. Fair enough, too. Daddy Earth still was fantastic, but it wasn't Robert Wise. Friday says, The Haunting, Star Trek, The Motion Picture, Sound of Music, West Side Story, Day the Earth Stood Still. Sound of Music's a freaky movie. I don't like movies with nuns, unless it's nunsploitation. Day the Earth Stood Still a classic, and the remake by Keanu Reeves is making me cry. Yeah, but I'm fairly sure the creative stuff in the Day the Earth Stood Still. Robert Wise was the director. He wasn't the creative engine for that movie. But yeah, I just don't like him. Like Ridley Scott, people, praise Ridley Scott for things, but I find him a very kind of prosaic director. I don't think I like him as a director. I mean, yes, he's made movies that have made a lot of money and they're very popular, but just not my jam. Black Narcissus is fantastic, Adam. Absolutely. That Powell and Pressburger documentary that Scorsese did, Made in England, the films of Powell and Pressburger, is fantastic. Yeah, Star Trek the Motion Picture, that's one of those ones where in the special effects scenes, you fast forward at 2 speed through the special effects scene. Friday says, why is this a non-auteur director? Absolutely, he's a jobbing director. But even non-auteur directors can do interesting work. Not a Hero says, Wicked is becoming the new Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I will see it when it comes on streaming, but I won't watch it in a cinema because I don't go to the cinema to be annoyed. It's my safe space. It's my church. And if people are going to do annoying things in a cinema, it's like someone pissing into the baptismal font at a church. Black Narcissus is my number 3 of all time, says Steve. Yeah, it's a solid film. Just so strong and so well made. Dean says, I've seen movie trailers for horror films only in theaters this Christmas. Seems disturbing to me. Yeah, but if you see it saying only in theaters this Christmas, it means by late January you're going to see it on streaming. Roger says, Gladiator 2 is bonkers. How do they get sharks in the Colosseum? Yeah, I didn't like Gladiator that much. So I'll probably see Gladiator 2 when it comes out on streaming. Middle-aged Geek Girl says, you stay home to be annoyed by me. Now, that's why I go out to places like Cinemaniacs, Middle-aged Geek Girl. Phantom of the Paradise is better than Rocky Horror, says Friday. Yeah, I can see that. To be honest with you, I like Phantom of the Paradise more than I like Rocky Horror. And I've got both movies on Blu-ray. And I've got both soundtrack albums on vinyl. But I like Phantom of the Paradise merging different stories like Faust and Phantom of the Opera and all that kind of stuff. And also, what's the other one? And to a little bit, Svengali. Good stuff. Phantom of the Paradise is just such fun. And the music by Paul Williams is chef's kiss. Yep, you're right, Evil Pixie. Sharks in the Colosseum are easy via a Sharknado. Okay, beginning to buffer. Thoughts on the Apple? Haven't seen the Apple. Dorian Gray. Which version, Trinity? Yeah, Dorian Gray's another one that's in Phantom of the Paradise, yeah. Just such fun. And are we buffering? Because I can still see myself on the screen. But I hope not. Because this would then be an egregiously horrible thing. Are people still okay? Can they see me still? Because I'm hoping to make this last another 20 minutes, which is something I've never said in my life before. Not buffering. Secret of Dorian Gray. Yeah, I mean, the original Dorian Gray, the one with George Sanders and Herb Hadfield, is fantastic. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, it looks like we're going to survive for 20 minutes, hopefully. He said, like a Cassandra prediction. Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein looks interesting. I'm always up for a Guillermo del Toro movie. Even when it's one I don't particularly love, I never find it less than interesting. I also like The Shape of Water. A lot of people didn't like that, but I do. According to Peter, I'm an animated icon at the moment, which is not good. Dick says I'm okay there in the UK. Yep, good. This is starting to stress me the shit out, I tell you. Yeah, let's hope it stays stable and that everything's going okay. Let me just make sure I've closed down everything I can close down here so that it doesn't. I'm closing down a whole bunch of stuff here so that I can keep everything stable if I possibly can. I am definitely getting that bloody router. I can see Gladiator with sharks turning into a Sharknado movie. I think there's a Sharknado kind of movie with cats or some other animal in it that's coming out soon. But I'm not sure what it is. Okay, 20 minutes in. AMA time. Ask me anything, and I will answer it. Dean says another cup of espresso soon. Catnado, yeah. Yeah. Middle-aged Giga says you're stressed. I'm trying to film, and all that's happening is Luna's tail waving in and out of my shot. So middle-aged Giga is not only moderating, but she's also shooting her own YouTube videos. That's multitasking for you. Roger says, okay, in the shot of England. Fair enough. This one is stressing me out, but we'll get there. Catnado, yeah. Well, I mean, I would watch a Catnado movie as long as cats aren't hurt in the movie. It's like people don't like dogs being killed in movies, but for me, it's cats. Any character in a movie that treats a cat badly, I will hate them forever because I like cats. Cats are much better for me than dogs because dogs are obsequious bastards, sucking up to human beings. Pussy NATO is the OnlyFans version of a dick, of Cat NATO. Yeah, you just put mental images in my head, which I don't want to be there. But yeah, people, cats are like, dogs are obsequious. They suck up to people. Cats just go, yeah, feed me. I'll jump on you when I want a pat. They're independent, and I kind of like that. If I could recover any one lost movie, which one would it be? I want to see the Batwoman movie, the one that Warner Brothers have sunk. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I want to see those movies that have been suppressed or not released by studios recently. That'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, the original Dorian Gray with Angela Lansbury and Herb Hatfield and George Sanders is, the gold standard for that particular story. Two great non-auteur directors, Richard Fleischer and J. Lee Thompson. J. Lee Thompson's movies are fantastic. He did the original Cape Fear, which I like better than the one with De Niro. I think the original one with Mitchum is fantastic. Favorite Sam Fuller movie? I like so many. Probably Pick Up on South Street is my favorite Sam.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Shut up, Alexa. Eight-Legged Freaks, the cat would have won that fight, yeah. But yeah, favorite Sam Fuller, Pick Up on South Street. I like with Mark in it. I love Thelma Ritter in that. I think it's the best role, and she should have got an Oscar for it. Yeah, first Cape Fear is good. I'm not saying that the second version is bad. It's not. If the first one didn't exist, it'd be a perfectly fine movie. But that first one really works for me. And Mitchum playing bad like he did in that and in Charles Laughton's Night of the Hunter was terrific. I like the fact that he was a protagonist in so many movies and a hero in so many movies. And then he could flip and play truly scary villains. I mean, he underrated himself as an actor and he underrated his own intelligence as an actor. But Mitchum really delivered the goods, both sides of that divide. Any feel-good Australian Christmas movies? Probably any version of Bush Christmas. The original version from the 1940s, 1950s is good. The one with the young Nicole Kidman before she ruined her face is okay too. A lot of fun. And it's good to see Christmas movies where it's not cold, because I've never experienced a cold Christmas. It's always barbecues and sunburn and people wandering around and lots of drinks with umbrellas in it here for Christmas. Carol says, do we put up decorations for Christmas? Not, we don't, but people do, and I am going to be going with Middle-Aged Geek Girl and taking the Osmo Pocket 3 and doing the local Christmas decorations, because we'll drive around and we'll get lots of, and there are some spectacular Christmas decorations in our area, and we'll drive around and we'll get them done. Problem for kids is this time of year it gets dark anywhere up to 9 o'clock at night, and so the kids are staying up beyond their bedtime to go and see the Christmas lights, and they're always very tired little kiddies when you go and see the Christmas lights, and that's kind of fun. But we will definitely be doing it. Would a retelling of 7 Days in May be worthwhile? No, it's too close to the bone. It's documentary. They didn't need to have a military takeover of America. They did it through social media. And that's, in a sense, harder to fight and even scary. Not a Hero says, if I could recover a movie, it'd be London After Midnight. That's the one I kind of thought of. If it was found, I wonder how many people would be disappointed in the quality of it. Does Santa wear shorts when he delivers in Australia? Yep, he does sometimes. And he also turns up at Mardi Gras in a bikini. Middle-aged Geek Girl says, the Northern Hemisphere season bias is so annoying, especially in crafting. Summer is Christmas, not winter for us. Why didn't Eggers remake London After Midnight? He's doing a lot of good stuff. He's doing Nosferatu, and I want to see Nosferatu. Carol says, only at Christmas in the UK, so hot Christmas seems odd to me. We went to Malta in November once and saw the decorations going up, which was odd as it was very hot. Yeah, I like summer Christmas because you can have people over for a barbecue, not necessarily on Christmas Day. But I remember back when my mum was alive, she used to do the roast dinners because, traditionally you have roast dinners for Christmas. And one year she went, screw it, we're having cold meat and salad for Christmas lunch. And we did, and it was great. You roast up a leg of lamb beforehand and slice it up the day before. You do all of your salads and things. And for our Christmas meal, it hits to have cold meat and salad and cold chicken and all those kind of bits and pieces. That's kind of culturally and climatically appropriate. Mike has, this is when my Alexa goes off. My Alexa, and we've also got Google. I'll occasionally say something nice to middle-aged Geek Girl, and Google will answer. And then Sally gets jealous. Have I seen the Vincent Price Cookery Blu-ray from BFI? I've heard about it, but I haven't got a copy of it, Adam. Oh, my God, none of them are Christmas meats. Yep. Carol says, my birthday is on Christmas Eve, so warm weather would be good for a party. Postpone my 40th of February as it was too expensive to get a venue in December. Yeah, that sucks. Your parents should have withheld until it was seasonally appropriate to have a child. But yeah, I mean, I've got a bunch of friends whose birthdays are around there. I've got another one whose birthday is the 1st of January. And there's always a party, but it's never her party. But yeah, fail-safe rules. On the original On the Beach is great. There's a really good release of it by Imprint, which I picked up. Adam says, basically British cooking, yellow sauce covered in mash with a salmon in the middle, that kind of thing. Yeah, I do want to see the Vincent Price Cookery Show because I think it'd be fun. Carol says, I was a Catholic surprise, not expected. Yep, we do middle-aged girl. We have a friend on Christmas Day, uncle on the 28th, and her father's on the 2nd of January. Peter, middle-aged girl's father, is turning 80 on the 2nd of January too. So that's kind of cool. And we will pop over there and give him a bottle of whiskey, which will be gone by the 3rd of January. Philip says, Alan Moore ripped off the theme for Earl Robert Culp's Outer Limits episode, The Architects of Fear, with Watchmen's original ending. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, that ending was in science fiction stories for a long time before The Outer Limits. Yeah, Franny says, I've seen clips of Vincent Price cooking and he's really good. Yeah, he was also really good as an interpreter of art. He had this thing where there were art prints in one of these big shopping centers in America that he curated. He was very big on bringing art and skills to ordinary people, and I like him for that. Apart from all the other things I like Vincent Price for. Is Peter 79 middle-aged geek girl this year? Next year. Okay, my apologies. But yeah, there's one of the things is when people say somebody ripped off this story from that person, chances are that person have been influenced by previous stories. There are a lot of stories that are really old, and unless you do a really deep search on them, you sometimes can't find them, and you think something's original when it isn't. Is there any original ideas left in the Hollywood sausage factory? I think innovation never comes from the mainstream, and Hollywood's mainstream. Innovation comes from the edges. French female directors like Coralie Farge doing Revenge and then doing The Substance, that's original. Tarantino, the video shop geek, is an original, even though he did reinterpret a whole bunch of stuff previously existing. Innovation never comes from the center of a big industry town. It always starts with somebody doing the equivalent of two geeks in a garage creating Apple computers in the home computer industry. Good innovation and lasting innovation never comes from the mainstream. Not a Hero says, I saw on Believe It Was AMC the recreated version of London After Midnight, where they did it completely in black and white stills. Okay, cool. Friday says, there are a lot of original ideas presented to Hollywood, but they almost never get financed. And that's the interesting thing, where we're starting to see people who are putting up short films they make themselves on YouTube, and they're getting a foothold in the industry because that short that they made on YouTube is their calling card. So again, they're coming in to the mainstream from the edges. Problem is, sometimes when a good creator comes in from the edges and gets into the mainstream co-opts them into making very prosaic projects. And there are a lot of good directors, particularly, who made small indie films, and then they end up doing streaming series and things like that. And they're very good in that. But they're no longer auteurs. They're jobbing directors, which is fine for them. I mean, you've got to pay the mortgage somehow. But I'm kind of disappointed in that, not in their choices, but in the fact that nobody's financing them to do their own individual projects that follow their vision rather than them bringing their creativity and their riz to a streaming series or something like that. So yeah, there are a lot of original ideas presented to Hollywood almost never get financed. Absolutely. Which is totally a shame, because things like The Substance, which isn't 100% original, but he's done in an incredibly original way, is a breath of fresh air. Every time I see something that's really original in a movie, it reminds me why I love movies and why I keep watching them and why I built my online career around them. See, you can go through a period of seeing a whole bunch of kind of okay movies and kind of mid movies, and then something fantastic hits and it works. Adam says, The Substance is Hollywood Dormier and Grey. It is to a certain extent, but it's told from a female point of view, which Hollywood doesn't do by itself. And it's told with a criticism of the beauty myths of Hollywood. So basically, Coralie Farge grabbed all of the tropes of Hollywood and shown how egregiously horrible they are. Not a Hero says, please tell your father happy birthday from me, middle-aged gay girl. Absolutely Not a Hero, 9/11. We will do that. Evil Pixie says, reminds me of Star Trek Axanar, which was better than the CBS Star Trek series. So they sued them almost to oblivion. Yeah. Passion projects are something I really appreciate. I've seen passion projects that were, why did you bother? and why do you like that? But passion projects, very often, that passion lifts them above the production values and the available resources and things like that. And I love them for that. Starry Eyes is a good movie about Hollywood. I don't know that one, but I'm going to write it down because I can. So we're 4 minutes from the end and we've survived the third time around on this live stream. I'm writing down Starry Eyes. But yeah, so as I said, we're going to do New Year's Eve because, to be honest with you, I like New Year's Eve more than I like Christmas. There's a lot of theological baggage to Christmas that I don't particularly like. But New Year's Eve I love because it's arbitrary. You know, the start of a New Year's is an arbitrary thing. It doesn't mean anything in the natural world. But it's that point where you go, things can be better next year. I hope they are, and I'm going to try to work toward them being better next year. And this year's been what it is. But I can close the door on that, and I can open a new door. And there are lots of possibilities I want to explore. You don't always explore them. Realistically, New Year's resolutions very often fail. But there's a tiny, tiny, bright star of optimism that comes with New Year's Eve that I really appreciate. Yep, no, Adam, we don't get New Year's first. Tonga gets New Year's first, then New Zealand, then us. And me says, recently watched Interior Chinatown on Hulu. I hear good things about that. Really interesting story about a background Asian character in a cop show that breaks through his cliched experience. Yep. Better says, thanks, Terry and Mag. Looking forward to New Year's Eve stream. 2024 was a year of horror, and I don't just mean in movies. Yep. Thanks a lot, Peter, too. Looking forward to New Year's Eve. Look for the small art house movies for originality and quirkiness, Roger says. Yeah, that's why I like going to the Sun Cinema here in Melbourne when I go to the movies, because it shows the movies that aren't showing in the big multiplexes. And this year I've had a lot of fun seeing those smaller movies in the Sun in particular, because I can't get them in my local multiplex even when it's open. And I also, though, what I did do as well is I saw a couple of interesting Indian films this year. I saw Kalki 2988, whatever it is, 2899 or whatever it is, and I saw Kill, a really good Indian action film. So I've kind of had a fairly good year of looking outside the mainstream and finding good films and going to the Sun to see things like the Substance, which wasn't showing in the big cinemas. Yeah, Kill's fun. I've got a copy of Kill on DVD now. Really solid action film, which